always there. Okay, so just give your mouse a little quick click and make sure it's working, and we will start to go through what we need to do on the website. Okay, so I've already logged on for you to make it easier, but when you first log on to the system to find the website, you can see there the web address. So it's all the W's, www.goldenmile.org, and that will take you to the Golden Mile website page, the home page. Now, there's one more click to get through to the page that you're on now. So when it comes up on the website, you just need to click primary schools, okay, which you all are in, and then this home page will come up for you, okay? When your schools are registered, okay, you will have an email and a password that is sent to you. Now, I will liaise with Chris, and we will register all your schools for you, if you're not already, at our HQ in our office. Okay, we'll get all that done for you so it's nice and simple. And then what happens, teachers, is if you're not already registered, you will be sent to the email address that you provide us with, you will be sent in a password, okay? And this is how you access there. So in the big green box there, we've got member login. Now today, we're just going to use a test site, okay, which is just a mock site that we can use today, and it's not going to be your real school site, but it's going to be exactly the same apart from the names, okay? So what I'd all like you to do now is in this box here, in the email box, is write test, so T-E-S-T, and then the little @ symbol, so you'll probably have to do a shift and the @ symbol. If everyone knows where that is. Feel free to walk around and help the children. And then, so test @ and then test again. And then add an S on, so it's tests. Just an S. And then dot. And then O-R-G, org. Test @ tests with an S, .org. Okay, everyone done that? Yeah. Everyone okay? Perfect. And then you'll see the password section, and it is September, as in the month, with a capital S. Needs to have a capital S. So you need to press Shift and S. And then return, or click enter on the mouse. This is now, or will be, your own personal school's homepage. Now, as you can see, because this is just a test site, we've called this school Testington Primary, okay? But your school will have your name up there, and this will be your homepage for your school, okay? Now, obviously, because this is just a test site, we haven't got lots of laps and miles added to this system, but straight away, this bit here will show you as monitors, okay, the activity that you have recorded as a whole school. Okay, so we've got here September through to July, and it goes right up here all the way to nearly 10,000 miles. You can see blue here, golden miles achieved. It will show you as a school your activity rate. Okay, and that's something, again, that you need to, that special word, communicate with your classes, and indeed the whole school, maybe even in assembly, okay? And we'll talk a little bit later how to set some targets for you all to achieve as a school. This graph is quite an important one because, as I said, it shows you as a whole school what you've achieved. Now, we're now going to go through the first steps of what you'll need to do and what you'll need to know. So really, very simple. You've got 3 sections here. 2 of them you will use to start with, which we'll cover today. You've got My Classes and you've got My Graphs, okay? Challenges is something else that we can talk about further down the line once you've got going. So we've got My Classes. So what I'd like you to do now is every time that you go onto the system to upload your laps from your class register, okay, when you come onto your home page, you'll need to go and click on View Classes, and this will be the main tab that you'll use, okay? So if you could all just click on View Classes. Okay, perfect. Everyone done that? Brilliant. So here you'll see, again, because it's a test site, we've already got some classes added. When you first come onto your school's homepage, none of these classes will be on here. It will just be blank, okay? So what do you think you need to do? Can anyone see on there what you think you might have to click on? Yes? Add a class. So nice and simple. Well done. You click on Add a Class. And you all do this individually and add your own class. Okay, so you get a little box comes up and it says use existing teacher or add new teacher. So what we're going to do, no one needs to do this at the moment, sorry, if you just don't hold fire a second, I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to add a new teacher. So just so you know, we don't all need to add a new class right this second, so I'm just going to do it myself. You will see the title. So it says, if you click on the little arrow, it'll say Mr., Mrs., Miss, Mr., Doctor, or Reverend. Okay, so we're going to say Mr., and then we'll put in my name, which is Carl. My surname is Fox. Now, here's one for the teachers, really. You don't, or you guys, you don't have to put a telephone number in there, but it will require a number, so you can just put 00 in there. Now, the email address is down to the teachers in charge of that class. You may just want to use your school or whoever's registered with the email where the password will come to. You may want to put in their own school email, or if they don't want to put an email in at all you need to do is just make sure that you could put, say for instance, your school name. So I'll say St Andrews, for example, long as it's got an goldenmile.com. You can just put a fake one in there. So you've got your title, your first name and your last name of your teacher. And then you put in 00 for telephone because we don't need to contact it. And then, for instance, you'd ask your teacher what email you can put in there. If not, you can just put the school's office app or whatever like that in that section. And then just go to add Mr. Carl Fox, click OK, and then it will come up with what year group you are. Okay, so what year, not your year group, but the year group of the class that you're looking after. So we're going to say that I'm year 1, and my class name, for instance, might be Gold, and then the lap length. Now, this might just be the lap length that you use and add in your playground to start with. So everyone will have the same lap length. So we'll just say that is 275 metres. And then simply click Add Class. And then that should load. And then you can see at the bottom there, Mr. Fox's Gold Class. Okay. So you've got your class name, the number of pupils that have been added, and obviously we haven't added any pupils yet. The miles, so how many we've done this week, how many we've done this month, and this year. So it's a running total. So straight away, without going into the class, you can see how active your classmates that you've been looking after are in charge. Okay, you don't really need to worry too much about any of this action status here. It's just simply in the control section there. You can delete a class, activate a class, suspend a class, or print off a report. But there's nothing you really have to worry too much about. So what I'd like you to do now is once we've added a class and we've got Mr. Fox's Gold Class ready, what do we think we need to enter then in my class? The names of the pupils. So what I'd like you to do is to click on Mr. Fox's Gold Class. And you will probably get this box again, today's lap length. That's just a warning every time, just to make sure you're entering the correct lap length so you don't have a mistake, okay? Because what we don't want to do is you putting in 15 laps on a 500 metre course when you've only been going round in the hall, okay? So it's just there to remind you. So click Save Lap Length, and then you should get that screen. Now what we need to do is we need to add the pupils' names in, and this is what you'll do. So you'll add your class, and now we'll add your pupil. Who can see on there where we'd add a pupil? Yeah. Add pupil. Exactly. Very straightforward. Nice and simple. So all you'll have to do then is click on, you can all do this now, is add pupil. Okay. So now you can put in your own names as a test. Okay. Put your own name in. Now again, for the teachers, where the section is on parents' email, that is down to you if you would like the parents' email added in there. It's not kept on there, it's passworded, so you can't see the actual email every time when you key something in. Okay, and that will go and that will save itself. And what that's for is if each child, when the child reaches a milestone, it will send an email to that particular parent. So, I mean, lots of schools like it where parents want to engage parents in what they're doing, but it's entirely up to you. But you can just leave that blank. So, your first name, your last name, and then at the bottom, you've got gender. So the blue is the boys, or you click the little with the arrow, or the little cross, which is the girls. So if you just click that, it will show what gender you are. And then at the bottom, nice and simply, click add pupil. And then okay. So I can see Riley. Where's Riley? Okay, and we've got Yola. Excellent. And we've got Lucy. Where's Lucy? Brilliant. Amelia, Alex, Tom, Sam. Brilliant. So your names have all come up on in Mr. Fox's class. Okay, so one of your first jobs is to add your teacher's name, that class you're looking after, and then click on add pupil, fill it in, and add it as many times to how many pupils you've got on your class register. And you've got all your names. So all your pupils, you're pretty much ready to go. Okay. Now, if you look, week commencing 6th of October, so that was Monday. You've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday highlighted there, Thursday, Friday. Now, this little box here shows what, do you think? Yes? The mile. No? The lap length. Brilliant. Well done. So if you do a different lap length every day, okay, so you might change it from, say, the field to the playground to the hall. All you need to do is on your sheet is you just click, you don't need to do it now, click the little box, and whichever lap length, and you can name them playground, field, whatever you like when you set it, is just make sure that each day when you put in the numbers is correct to that lap length, okay? Now the important bit, we've got the total here, so 0 miles, 0 kilometres. So if I go to my name here, and I take my class register, whatever I've done with it, and I see that I have worked really hard on Monday, and I've done, let's say, 20 laps. I put in 20 there, and then I click return, okay? And straight away, that says that 20 laps at 275 metres is 3.42 miles and 5.5 kilometres, okay? And it starts to total it up for me. So, if you'd all like to have a go next to your name, on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, put in some laps that you think that you could do. And then click refresh. Off you go.
You can put something really silly if you want.
Yeah, you can put something silly in if you want to. Not really silly. And then just click return.
Why isn't it coming up?
Because you've probably got number lock on. Try it again.
No. That's how it works.
So, what was your name? Lucy. So, Lucy has put in 234 miles, okay, and something's happened next to her name. You can see the little traffic lights that start to pop up, okay? And there, you can see where it says achievements or rewards, what those lights mean. So we've got bronze is our 10 miles, okay? Which is this certificate. Then we've got silver, gold, emerald, ruby, and some have got diamond already because Katie's put 944 laps in. Okay.
I need to refresh mine because I've got diamonds.
You can refresh them and then, yeah, that'll add it for your whole school. Okay, so this is your really important job as a Golden Mile monitor, okay? So make sure we're all nice and quiet and listening. So all we need to do is we need to go onto the main page of the website. We put in our username and password, which takes us to our school's homepage. We click then the tab. Who can remember what the tab was? What did it say? Can you remember? No, that's good. That's the website, but the actual tab to get through to this part. My classes. Well done. Excellent. And then that will take you through to this. You then add whose name first? Teachers. Well done. And then you start to add your pupils' names. Okay. Once that's all set up, they can go off and you can set up the practical session. You monitor their laps, you record it on your class register, and then at the end of the week, normally maybe on a Friday lunchtime, you'll get together at lunchtime, and for 5 or 10 minutes, you'll just go through and you'll add in the laps on each day. Okay, does that all make sense? Mm-hmm. What you can do is you don't always have to put them in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If you don't want to, you can just total them all up and put them in the Friday section. But if you'd like to see what days they've done them on, you can do this. You click return, and then it calculates their kilometres and miles. Now, the key thing is, and I'm just going to demonstrate here, so we'll take Katie, miles, and as soon as a traffic light pops up, okay, that's when you know one of your class members has reached a milestone, so really important achievement. And then you hover your cursor over it, you don't need to do this now, and you double click on it. The name's already in it, Katie. Where's Katie? Katie, you're up in lights, look, right on the main screen, and your certificate is there. Katie Miles, Teston Primary School, the date. And what you then have to do as a Golden Mile monitor is print off the certificate, which your teachers will be able to show you how to do. And then you need to sign it, and because it says here the authorised signature, and that will be you to say that Katie has completed her 10-mile certificate and she will receive that. Now, we'll cover this shortly in a second, but you will keep them safe in your Golden Mile tray in your classroom. Well done, everyone's listening, this is brilliant. And you'll keep that there nice and safe in your Golden Mile tray with your class register. And then hopefully at the end of the month, what we'd like to do with the schools is you'd have a reward assembly. So at the end of each month, just at the back or the start of your normal assembly, you would have a reward assembly. And you monitors would come up the front, proud as punch, and hand out the certificates to those children that have achieved a milestone. And indeed, receive your own from the monitor that is in charge of your class, okay? And that way, it shows and encourages everyone of what you can achieve when you're doing Golden Mile, okay? Yes?
Every week, will they still, on the website, will they have the miles still there every week?
Yes, it's all saved. Yeah, so when you, good question. So here, if I just go back one step to classes, just loading, then that will show you here, you can see there, it will keep this week, this month, this year of all the miles that you create. So you can see now that Mr. Fox's gold class, because we've all been putting in the data, has gone right up to getting up to 3,000 miles. Okay? So guys, that basically is the main part of what you need to do as Golden Mile monitors of the website. Now always remember, on the left-hand side, this is an important part, there's a thing called a menu. Okay? And this is always there. And you'll see resources. you'll see manage classes and you'll see dashboard. Dashboard is the main home page. It just takes you back to the start. So this is always accessible for you on any screen that you're on. So you can click back to, okay? So, for example, I can click back here to dashboard and it'll come back to my home page, okay? Where you've then got your view classes, challenges and graphs. On this home page, at the bottom, this is the really important bit, you've got down here the resource section, okay? And I'll just quickly, you don't need to click into this, but this will show you all the different sheets that you will need. Now, one important thing on here is this one here, the setup guide for teachers and pupil monitors, okay? So basically, it's a how-to guide of everything that I've covered on the website today. So it's just step by step of click this, click there, click here, okay? So that will show you everything you need, and that's just in the resource section. And again, the menu tab is always down the left with all the key things that you need. Resources is always at the bottom there as well, just here, if you can see that. Okay, so you've got the setup and guide for teachers and pupil monitors. And then everything else on there. You've got the lesson plans here. The Golden Mile merchandise, which is the track markers, which shows the email that you need to, if you'd like to purchase those. The job description, the CV template, all about running the challenges, and also a baseline measurement sheet that we don't need to cover today. Okay, so everything is in the resource section there for you.
Have a look at the class wall chart.
Yeah, I'll show you that in a second. Well, there's a little printout one, but we've got those
You've
all
got the
over
big
there.
ones again.
Yeah, we've got the big ones for you. But this one, that's just
Keep them
that's
separate
just a mini one
too. Right.
that you can print off. So it's exactly the same. I can show you that if you wish. There you go. So it's a mini one, which is A4.
I want a better in class.
So you can put them in your classes.
And then you can do the top.
And then your last tab that I'm just going to come into today is View Graphs, okay? So you can click on your View Graphs, and basically this will just show you, okay, if I click on this one, Golden Mile, miles by class,
And it showed up.
here it is. So there's none in here, or there's a few in here at the moment, and that will give you a graph of all the classes, all the children in your particular class. So it's quite a nice little visual for you to pin up in your class next to the wall chart to show children each week. So when you come in maybe at lunchtime on the Friday and you upload your things, is to click on View Graphs, go to your class, and you can print that off and pin that next to your thing so you can see the children and where you're going, just to, if you wish. And you can use all the different graphs here that you've got to choose from. Okay, so you've got all sorts of different graphs that you can play around with and find. Here you go. There's another one there of the different all classes graph. So that's the actual classes. So you can have a little bit of intra-competition. So class versus class. So we can see, so there you can see, so say for instance, Dave is in charge of Carl Fox's gold class. He can see that he's got his children out and they're second at the moment, okay? And Smoky Bacon class or Ross Catchpole's class need a bit of a push in the right direction to get going, okay? So it's quite a nice visual for you to be able to see where you are with each individual class. Make sure you know your login and password for your school, which will be emailed to the email address when you register. Adding your lap length, which you all know how to do, yeah? Resources section is the key one, where you can get all the different bits of information. Adding classes, adding pupils, printing class registers. Actually, I will just go back to that. I missed that one out. So very simple again, printing class registers. You simply go into My Classes, go into the particular class that you're looking after, save the lap length, and then once that's loaded, on the top right hand here, you can see print register. Adding the laps, as we said, printing the certificates, and then the Golden Mile wall chart. So I'll quickly give you an example of a Golden Mile wall chart. Could you just grab us one there, please? Cheers. Stuck together. Okay, so this is your Golden Mile wall chart. Would you mind just being my assistant there? Thank you. Here's your Golden Mile wall chart, and it's very simple. You can see, right, all the names, as you saw the little girl doing in the video, of your children in your class. And then it just breaks down your milestones. We've got bronze, silver, gold, emerald, ruby, diamond. And once on your sheet or on the computer, when a child reaches, or one of the pupils reaches halfway to their milestone, it clicks up to 5 miles, you can put a little sticker on their wall chart, okay, when they get halfway. And then obviously once they reach their traffic light that pops up, bronze, you can print off their certificate, put it in your tray for safekeeping, and then you can pop a little sticker on there as well. So every time when the children come into their class that you're looking after, they've got a visual of how they are doing as a class and individually. And there's some little bits that you can use here. So you might choose a star pupil for that particular week. Now, it doesn't mean just the best pupil with the best miles or the best amount of laps. It could be someone that's improved the most, so you've got improved performer, or someone that's just tried the hardest, might be the star pupil. So it doesn't always have to be the children that complete the most miles or the most laps, okay? And then you've got your class login, email and password that you can put down there so you don't forget it, okay? And also on the resource section, as we showed, there is a smaller A4 wall chart that you can use in exactly the same way if you don't want to use the big one. So hints and tips, some little things that will help you as Golden Mile monitors. And remember, you will work individually with classes, but we said as monitors you will work as a what? As a group or a team, okay? And help each other out. So, hints and tips. Before beginning the Golden Mile, all class and pupil names will need to be uploaded on the website. So that is the very first thing that you'll do once you've got your login details. You'll need to lower the length of your lap in metres before the start of the Golden Mile. So what did I suggest? Maybe everyone sets a track up on the, what did we say? On the playground. And that can be your permanent track that's always there, okay? And then you can put in the lap length for that particular thing. Print out a class register for your class on a Friday so it's ready for the following week. Completed laps of the week can be uploaded, for instance, every Friday lunchtime as an example, but it doesn't have to be, depending on how it works with your school. Completed laps, remember the correct lap length is added for the laps completed. So you can do it every single day. So you can click on the top of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Begin a monthly reward assembly to say well done. And that word that we said is, what was that big word? Encouragement, because it encourages people. They can see and get their certificates, which is really rewarding for them, including yourselves. And then incentives for the best monitor every half term. Now this is for the teachers. Some schools will, like anything, work better. The monitors will work better if it's incentivised. So if you've, say, got 6 monitors, you could create a incentive menu, which lots of schools use, and reward the monitors. It might be every month or every time you set up a reward assembly every half term for the best monitor that's shown communication skills, the best leadership skills, or indeed looking at the little graph, the class versus class graph, the one that's got their class the most active may get a little reward. For example, that some schools have used, it might be a house point, it might be a sticker or a star, whatever your school uses. It might be, that I've seen in schools, which I thought was a good idea, is the Golden Mile monitor of the month was allowed to sit on a chair in assembly with the teachers and not on the floor. Some had VIP access to the canteen and had a queue jump. All sorts of different things that doesn't cost anything, but something to reward the monitors. And what I suggest is actually, once the monitors are in the room, is to actually come up with some ideas of what you think would be, within reason, a nice reward for you. Or the teachers could discuss and do it, however you'd like to do it. But we've had all sorts of different things like that. So sitting on chairs, queue jump for the dinner hall, all sorts of different things. So it might be a really good idea to incentivise the guys within the school so they can really improve and work on their communication, leadership and getting their class active. Okay, so in school, with what you do you always try and be the best that you can be?
No.
Is that something that your school tries to make, trying to make you happen, try and promote within your school, to be the best that you can be? Now, that's not to say that you're going to be brilliant at everything. That's just to say that you try your best at everything. Who said no there, by the way? So, yeah, be the best monitor in your school. So, here's a little idea, what might work, which worked fantastically within schools, and it's something that you can create between, and you were kind of having a little conversation there earlier. Design the Golden Mile display in the school hall with an annual target to achieve together. So, I'll give you an example of what one school did. In their hall, they had a display similar to the ones here, and they created a map of the world. Okay, just like you see the flat map of the world that you see in an atlas. Okay, you all know what I mean? And what they did is they drew a big picture of their school and they put it where it roughly was in the country. And then one of the teachers was going to do a project in France. Okay, and they were learning about the culture, what food, and all about the people and different monuments and buildings within France. So who could tell me a monument or a big famous building in France? Yes, go at the back. The Eiffel Tower. So they got one class and they designed a big Eiffel Tower. And then they stuck it over France. And then what they did in one of their numeracy lessons is they worked out how far their school was from the Eiffel Tower. Okay? And then they stuck a pin in their school and they stuck a pin in the Eiffel Tower with a piece of string joining the two and printed off the numbers and said how many miles it was from the school to the Eiffel Tower. And then what they did is on their homepage where it showed the graph, they looked at that every day or every week, and as collectively as a school, once they reached and completed that many miles, then they did a little project on France. And they went from their school to Paris, Madrid and Rome in 14 weeks. Okay? 14 weeks, they'd done over 6,000 miles together as a school. And they followed it all around the world. Okay? So that's one idea that you could do. Before the World Cup, schools done the road to Rio, and they tried to get to Rio, where the World Cup was held, and done different stadiums on the way. It could be the Euros that are coming up. It could be anything that your school wants to do, but if you could do a big display so every time the school can see it, if you'd like to raise some funds for your school as well, it can tie in nicely with a fundraiser to reach somewhere. And maybe that you'll actually learn something along the way while you're being active. It could be whatever, or travel wherever you want to do, whatever your school suggests. Yes?
So if there's like Red Nose Day coming up,
Yep.
you could give out like slips for mums and dads, granddads.
Sponsor forms. Yeah, again, sponsor forms are all on the resource section, already done for you. So if it's something that you'd like to do, the parents can see the big visual display, the children can, and you can work towards wherever you want to go around the world. And that's just one example, okay, which has worked quite well in schools. But it just gives your teachers some ideas as well of how they can use it and interlink it with their lessons, okay. So set targets for the school, okay. So each pupil has a target a year of how many miles? What is the target for year one to try and achieve? How many miles? Yes? No, close. 50. The gold award, 50 miles. So to set a school target, you could times how many children in your school by 50, and that will give you the total amount of miles, okay? So you can also set a class target, which I suggest as monitors you do, because it gives you something measurable to discuss and communicate with your class. So you could work out how many children in your class and how many times that by 50 miles. Or you might not set, if it's some of the younger classes, you may say set a target of 25 miles. And you can get a big figure. Then what you can do is you can divide that by 3, and that will be a termly target because there's 3 terms in a school year. Or you could divide it by 6 and have a half termly. Or you could divide it by X amount of weeks and get a weekly target. Because I think that's really important. So rather than just saying, right, we're going to go out and do some miles, if each child has a target to try and hit for that particular week or for that month, it keeps them focused. And then when you're there leading and communicating those 2 special words, you can speak with them and see how far they're off their target, or if they've passed their target, or how many laps that they're going to need to do based on your lap length to achieve that target each week. So you can start to break it down a little bit and make measurable goals for each child to achieve. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah? So just simply take the number of children in the class, times it by their goal for the month of how many miles you'd like to complete. So it might be in the first half term or first term they want to do 10 miles. So you can work out how many they need to do each day. And you can do that within your maths lessons or your numeracy lessons. Okay? So it's something, again, that you can link in with your lessons. Okay? Create a golden mile display in your allocated class. So you might have a little mini display. Like we said, you could print off the graphs of each individual or each class versus class next to your wall chart, just so your children, when they come in, they can have something to look at every day to keep them motivated. Okay? Print off the data graphs, as I said. Speak with your class on a weekly basis. Okay? Communicating on a weekly basis. So you might pick out your star pupil, the most improved, the best performer, whatever it is. Talk about the graphs where you are, talk about their targets, just for a couple of minutes to keep in contact with that particular class. Have a golden mile tray, as we've said, allocated in your class to keep the registers and your certificates safe before the reward assembly. And then also another idea is create and design a track competition. So once you've got your playground one set up and ready to go, you can maybe set up design a track competition. Okay? There's lots of other things that you can have on the track. We've seen lots of schools that will stop off and we've seen one school in their music lesson learn a song while they're all walking. So instead of sitting in their classroom, they've gone outside, they've got active, they've done, I think there's about 15 or 16 laps while they learnt their song, okay, because they're active. So there's lots of different ideas you can help your teachers with as well. So just a few more tips there to be the best monitor in your school, okay? So, questions, any questions on any of that? And remember, you've always got the resource section, you've got the how-to guide, you've got sponsor forms, you've got how to use the website, how to set up, you've got everything on there. So if you just remember the resource section, everything I've gone through today will be supported on there, okay? And also, we have a member of staff at Golden Mile that is always available on the phone. So if you have any website issues or anything like that, you can just contact Liz, who is our customer relationships coordinator. So any issues whatsoever, you can go straight through to her and she'll help you out with any website difficulties or any issues whatsoever. Okay, so you'll have that support. Any questions? Let's break it down a little bit to make it easy. Any questions on what you have to do as a Golden Mile monitor so far? And don't forget, you've got your job specification to read through as well, just to give you a reminder. You're going to work as a team, so you can help each other out if you forget things. Any questions on being a monitor? And remember, can you remember the big word that we use as a monitor? You are... No. Close. Encouraging is a good word, but no, as a monitor you've got some responsibilities. Well done. And remember, right at the start of the presentation, when we were doing this, and we were talking about the benefits of exercise, is Golden Mile is not just fun. It's the main part of it that it's fun. And you can have some fun on the website and print off the certificates and reach your targets and your goals. But remember, your job and your responsibility is to make sure that children and your classmates understand why they have to exercise and why they have to get physically active. Can you remember why being physically active and fit can help?
So you don't get diabetes and heart.
Yeah, two of the things that if you are really inactive, potentially you could get. But just lots of exercise and lots of activity just keeps you healthy, keeps your heart strong, keeps your lungs strong, and making you feel better all the time. Okay, so that's why it's a really important role, and you should be very proud to be a Golden Mile monitor because you can help children achieve that as we go. Okay, so then we've got the practical setup. We've got the trundle wheel, measuring things out, working together, doing different track lengths, setting out a start gate and an end gate, and recording the lap length. And then how do we monitor the laps again? So we cut out those cheaters. By bands is one example. You may come up with some other ones. If you do, we'd love to hear about them. And then once they're finished with the bands, what do you do then?
You get them, count how many laps is it?
Yeah, and then you put that on the, write it down on the class register. Well done. And then that class register goes in your tray. Excellent. People have been listening. Everyone's got it right so far. And if you don't remember, if you do forget one, you've also got your monitors to help out. And then we've got the website. Okay, there is a how-to guide, I said, on the resource section, so it's all there for you. But I think you've all got that pretty quickly. You all seem pretty clued up with the IT there, adding classes, adding pupils, putting in the numbers, and then printing off the graphs. Everyone happy with that? Yeah. Brilliant, well done. As I said, on the resource section, there are the track markers. There's also Golden Mile t-shirts and caps for monitors, etc., that you can have a look through. And info@goldenmile.org there is the one to email to get hold of Liz, and she will call you back at school at a suitable time for you if you have any issues. Well, I would just like to say what a great group that you've been. You've listened so carefully. You were brilliant at the practical downstairs. You've been brilliant on the computer. You've kept coming up with ideas even before I get to them on my slide of how you can engage. Some brilliant ideas. We talked about class competition. We've talked about displays. And you kind of already ran ahead with that and got in front of me, which is brilliant because it shows that you are the right people for the job. So I'd like everyone to give themselves a big round of applause. Brilliant, well done. I'd like to thank the teachers for taking their time out to be with the children and help them support them within their Golden Mile. So thank you very much for that. And remember, from a school's point of view, everything that I've said today has got to be flexible to fit with your school. So nothing there is set in stone. It just needs to be some ideas and some pointers there. One of the key things for me to make Golden Mile a success is to be able to engage the other school staff. So they don't necessarily just see it as, oh, it's physical activity or PE, or it's another thing that we have to do, how it can help them maybe within their lessons and how they can link it in, taking it out to PE and doing warm-ups and things like that. And just ways that you can set a suitable structure that will work with your school. So if it's lunch times, before school, after school, so it's not, you know, it's not a burden, it's something that can work in. And obviously, if there needs to be a break for 1, 2, 3 weeks, for whatever reason, what happens in schools, everything is all stored safely on the system so you can pick up and carry on